Okay, well, welcome back to the second half of our Zenkai for today. We have a few new people who've come to join us for the second half of the Zenkai. Welcome. And we have a nice energy developing. The field has been very strong over the first part of the day here. So we're really developing samadhi individually and collectively. The retreat is going very well. So here's the time when I share some Dharma words with you. I hope they will be encouraging in your practice. Don't think about them too much, if at all. Just take them in, allow them to come in, move through you. Perhaps they'll resonate or trigger something, and it might inspire you going forward. But you don't need to analyze anything, and just let it pass through anything that just doesn't really resonate for you. I want to talk today about postures, physical and mental postures, as in a sense, the essence of our Zen practice. You could say that Zen itself is just attention to physical and mental posture. And from this attention, this transformation happens. And the quality of your attention develops a certain kind of quality of your mind, which deepens and deepens. And if you pay close attention, you start to see that the things that you have held to be fixed for so long aren't in fact fixed. Whether that's your body or your mind or yourself. The self being the great fixity that causes us so much problems and so much suffering. So physical and mental postures, body and mind. In our Buddhist understanding, the body and mind aren't separate. That's it's kind of easy to say. But we also, extend that to say, or we elaborate on it, to realize that all physical phenomena have a mental component. And all mental phenomena have a physical component. It's kind of interesting to really land with that. Okay, so often we talk about my mind, this is what's going on with my mind, and this is going on with my body. And we say, oh, they're connected, of course. Yeah, I know they're connected. But they're never separate. There's nothing that is a purely physical sensation without a mental component. And there's no mental phenomenon that doesn't have a physical component. Okay? So we're right in the thick of it. We're right in the soup. Always in the soup. We can't separate ourselves from our experience. Even this idea, these words that I'm speaking to you now, has a physical component within my body. And whatever is arising within your mind right now is embodied. So when we look at our practice, we do start with the body side, okay? Knowing that they're always implicated, okay? But we start with the body because it's grosser and it's more accessible in a way. It's more workable, right? What's more important, your head or your butt? What's your first response?
Right now, my butt.
Yeah. Yeah, you've been sitting for half a day. What if you ask most people, what would they say? Yeah, they say their head, right? All that executive functioning, all that, how the hell am I going to know what to do? All that threat assessment, all that analysis, all that planning. Yeah, but in a way, from a Zen standpoint, the butt is much more important. Here it is, the seat of our practice and the seat of our exhaustion. Get it out, right? Let it go. Let it move through. Don't hold on. Yeah, I've heard it said that in the yogic traditions, the formal yogic traditions, the word yoga means to unite, right? It has that same root as yoke. And my understanding of that yoking is that we're uniting sensation and attention with the asanas of yoga. We're uniting sensation and attention. So we bring immersive attention to sensations, and then so they're not separate. So you could say, I am the itch, I am the strain, I am the body. So we're yoking those. And I've heard it said that in that kind of hatha yoga tradition, that all the asanas actually are leading towards seated meditation as the height that integrates and includes all of the other asanas. This posture, our zazen posture, is the highest asana in a way. I don't know if that's the right word, but all asanas are preparation for this asana, for this posture. Okay, you could say that. So, that appears in all of our iconography going back 2,500 years. This posture. This posture perfectly gives the opportunity for alertness and relaxation. We've talked about it many times. Okay, that shavasana, lying down, tends to lean towards the relaxation a bit too much. And then the movement modalities, standing and walking, leading more towards the activity side. So this is that perfect combination. So we have this form that we is our model, that we are efforting in a certain way and relaxing into establishing a maintained continuity of this posture. Okay? Posture. But it's really the gap between this posture and then our habituated movements, the habituated ways that our body wants to be and wants to move. It's the gap between those that produces the tension. And this tension is incredibly transformative, incredibly rich. Some of us have been sitting, most of us have been sitting half a day, and oftentimes at the beginning, that gap feels very strong. There's a lot of tension. The achiness, the soreness arises. The body resists the stillness. Okay, and then we all help each other stay true to our intention to practice that stillness. Yeah, but that gap feels very loud. Yeah, that's the practice right there. That's the terrain of practice, is feeling that. So what's going on with the body in that gap, and what's going on in the mind in that gap? Now, fortunately, that gap becomes less afflictive, less painful, less irritating, less of a struggle the more we practice. The gap still exists, right? Because we're never completely still. We're never completely balanced. Never. We're always in movement. There's always movements that are happening in the body. So in a sense, we never reach this sort of ideal, perfect stillness. And if we do, it's gone the next minute. So that gap is always there. But the more we practice and the deeper we get into it, just that that terrain of adjust, adjust, adjust. And then there's just stillness for who knows how long. And then, an awareness of a shift. And then a micro movement in a micro moment to bring it back over and over again. It's incredibly rich. It's very pleasurable. And even as you develop this depth of your practice, then even the conditions of pain and soreness, strong emotions that were difficult to hold in the body, those become extremely rich as well. Mazumi Roshi, he said a number of times, I enjoy my pain. I enjoy the pain, and I can imagine, as he was, later in his life, 64, 65, the body starts to feel a lot more pain, whether sitting or not, right? But with the depth of practice, it can become, very, very rich, even enjoyable, just to experience that. There's an aliveness there. We can practice Zazen in the broader sense, because Zazen technically means sitting meditation. But I was about to say we can practice it standing in line, waiting for a sandwich over at the deli, or pumping gas at the gas station, or waiting for your partner to get ready to go out. And just how you hold yourself, how you hold yourself just in that deli line and just standing there. It's one thing to lean. It's another thing to shuffle around. It's another thing to look for distraction. There's nothing wrong with any of this. I'm just saying it's a really great opportunity to practice. And when you do, you bring your full attention to standing. It's quite enjoyable. So there's a few distinct mental postures that I want to talk about. I've taken these from my colleague Zenki Roshi from his book, The Path of Aliveness. I mentioned them about a year ago, I think. We've talked about him before. Zenki was a guest at our Zen Foundations back in February, I think it was, and I think he may have talked about them then. But I want to talk about them again here. I think they're very helpful. And they're not just mental postures. So I talked about the physical, and now I'm going to talk about these, but they're also valuable as physical frames, if you will. Okay, so mental postures are kind of a framework of understanding, you could say. It's like an internalized understanding or way of looking at things, with the way of looking at your experience. An internalized way of looking at your experience that can bring out a certain quality within yourself. So you could say that beginner's mind, or not knowing, is actually a mental posture. And we talk about that a lot. So just to approach the world with that frame of, what's going on here? I don't know what's going on here. That's a mental posture. Okay? Just to give you kind of an example there. So the four mental postures that Zenki talks about as being really crucial for transformation in our practice are like so: stillness, non-reactivity, non-thinking, and non-interference. So I want to say a little bit about each of these. They're very simple, and they're very helpful. So stillness means don't move. Okay? Don't move. So on a physical level, we understand that, right? Don't move. But of course, we're always moving. So put more positively, it's to maintain continuous attention to your awareness. That's what stillness is. Continuous attention to your awareness. Okay. So the mind that's moving is losing the thread. It's losing the thread of awareness of awareness. Okay? When you're aware of awareness continuously, then it doesn't matter what the object of your attention is, as long as your primary, in a sense, object of attention, or at least there is continuous attention upon the attention or the awareness itself. Okay, does that make sense? I'm distinguishing between, let's say, a foreground and a background awareness. Okay? A foreground is something, it's an object that has your attention. But the background is your awareness itself. So when there is continuous attention on the background field of your own awareness, then things can move through the foreground awareness discontinuously. The continuity of attention on the background awareness, that's don't move. That's stillness. You know, we have koans, we have many koans on this. So from the physical standpoint, well, the koan help this old teacher get up off of the chair without moving. Okay. So can you get up from your seat, move over, and help the teacher up while maintaining that background awareness? The foreground movement is happening, but it's the background movement that we're looking for in the expression of that koan. Okay. Non-reactivity. So, non-reactivity. We're so reactive, right? We just have these things come up in our mind, and we just have to do something about them. Right? Physically, so it's, in a way, it's nice to have the physical component because it's like pretty clear. So he calls this one "don't scratch." Right? An itch. Oh, that's uncomfortable. I'm going to do something about it. Don't scratch. It's kind of a version of don't move in a way, right? But it's specifically don't move in order to, make this unpleasant, thing go away, or to deal with it, analyze it, whatever the case may be. So how do we not react? How do you practice non-reactivity? Right? I'm giving you the positive, so way to practice stillness is maintaining that continuous attention. Practicing non-reactivity is opening up space, you could say. Right? That's the positive way to look at it. Open up space around all phenomena. Physical phenomena, sensations, open up space. Allow it to rise, hang around for a while, fade away. Same thing with the mental phenomena. Okay? Just give it space. Be the sky. Let the clouds move through. Don't push the river. We can practice that, right? It's something you can do with your mind. Okay. The third one is non-thinking. Don't engage your thoughts. Don't engage your movements. Identify as awareness, not as thoughts. And the fourth one is non-interference. Okay. Don't correct your mind. Don't get in the way of your mind. Don't interfere with it in any way. Right? We tend to resist certain sensations, and then we resist certain thoughts, certain feelings. So there's a subtle correction, subtle manipulation or contrivance, that we're so often engaged in. Expressed positively, non-interference is acceptance, complete acceptance. And when we completely accept our lives, when we completely accept our experience, something just wonderful and amazing happens. This great relief comes over us, number one. Oh, I don't have to correct this. I don't have to exert my energy. I'm creating much more suffering for myself in trying to change the situation than I would experiencing the situation if I just allowed myself to feel it. It's a fundamental insight of Buddhism. Just get out of your own way. And then what is the way that unfolds? Your way is your way, my way is my way. Your life is infinitely rich. I can't describe it. You can't describe it. Even trying to describe it and define it can sometimes be a way of, limiting it. We're all mystery bombs. That word just popped into, that term just popped into my head. I don't know where that came from. Maybe there's a title of the talk in there. So this is it. This is Zazen. It's really holding the attention on these postures. It's quite simple. Zazen is quite a simple practice. But it's not the gross level of posture that we often think it is. Oh, I'm going to stay still and then something's going to happen. No, it's not that. It's actually maintaining these postures, really committing to these postures. And then exploring the gap between the habituated movements of body and mind, activity of body and mind, the habituated activity, and then this posture frame, right? To experience the gap there. And the more you experience it, the more you bring attention, bring abiding awareness, bring loving attention even to that gap, to that texture of experience, the more it becomes your life. And then you live from that. And then even the mental posture actually becomes non-artificial. It's kind of an artifice. For a long time it's an artifice. It's a form that appears, external or hard to maintain, right? Something artificial about it. But the more you practice, and it disappears as that. It does. The physical form, it just becomes extremely natural. It's beautiful, it's lovely, it feels delicious. There's no, what's the word I want? Stiffness or compulsion or force to it. And it's the same way with the mind. Yeah. So those mental postures of beginner's mind or non-reactivity or non-interference, where they begin as artifice and then they maintain a certain amount of sort of clear form as technique, perhaps, if you will. They disappear. They disappear as that. So you could say you've internalized that way of being with your attention. That in itself is the development of samadhi. The continuous attention that's required for that internalization to really come alive has both physical and psychological and emotional and mental manifestations that come from that. So that's the transformation. It isn't from this into that. It's just allowing that inside essence to manifest each moment. Okay, you all get it. All right, so what a great opportunity we have, another few hours to practice Zazen. We'll have a service, and I'll be giving Dokusan over the course of the afternoon, so I'd love to see everybody coming out, and we'll spend some time. We'll be doing it in the Hermitage out back, and we'll have a procedure for that. And enjoy and make the most of the rest of the day.